Good evening. My name is Joe Law. I'm Deputy Fire Chief at the Kamloops Fire Department. And this is my co-part, Lieutenant George Parnell, and we're here to talk to you about some fire safety. I know we all joined the fire department, couldn't wait to get on the truck. I think that's why we all jumped on board. But we're going to talk a little bit about, let's get to the scene. Let's get to the scene safely. Okay? And so what we're going to talk about in our lecture this evening is on mounting and dismounting the apparatus. But before so, just a couple housekeeping items. If there's an emergency, we have to evacuate the building. And heaven forbid we don't have to evacuate the fire station. But if we do, we have a muster point. It's at the flagpole, just out the entrance you came into. Bathrooms are to your left, out the door to your left, and out to the other side, through the twin doors. And I do ask, please reserve on your cell phones, put them on vibrate. If you have to take the call, just please step out the fire. Yeah, anything to add, George?
No, I think that's good, sir.
Okay. Okay, so let's get on this. Talking about mounting, dismounting the apparatus. Remember the day when you first started as a firefighter? What did they ask you? What are you here for? You said, I'm here to save a life. Right? We all are here to save a life. I remember the day I went to fire school in Vermilion. We were in this auditorium. And the instructor said that same question to us. Who's number one? Of course, a few years back, had a little bit more hair on my head back then. And I said, yeah, I'm here to save somebody. That's what I'm here for. The answer was not that. The answer was you. We are number one. We are here to take care of ourselves. You're no good to anybody if you're hurt, right? So, hence what we're going to talk about, the safety aspect of it. And initially getting on the truck. Okay, picture this. Alarm goes off, tones go off. What do you think has happened to everybody's adrenaline? You're up right now. Your heart beat's racing, and you start moving a little bit quicker than you normally would. And George is going to allude to that in terms of our human behavior. Okay? And we're going to be probably asking you to slow down. Okay? Getting on the truck. Remember this? The good old days? Anybody were in those good old days back in the early... I started in 1990, and I was given a trench coat. You can imagine me being short, and having a trench coat, and my rubber boots, okay? We did ride on the back like that. This is the extreme. We're talking about mounting, dismounting an apparatus. This is how we mounted our apparatus. We jumped on the back, and off we went. Yeah, was it fun? I'd be lying if I didn't say it was. But it was dangerous, absolutely dangerous. And as you know from NFPA 1500, occupational health and safety would be absolutely, you'd be tarred and feathered for that. Okay? So, back in 1990 when we were spotting the tailboards, we did have incidents here at the fire station, here at the Kamloops fire station today. We've had people responding, not necessarily responding to calls, but during practice, doing equipment checks, when they're stepping off the apparatus and twisting their ankles. Do you guys remember that? We had two incidences here. We had two incidences here at the fire station, the Kamloops fire station, that twisted ankles. And they contributed, after the investigation, contributed to bad footwear. Like, do you guys wear full station boots when you're doing equipment checks? Yeah. Back in the day we didn't. Guys would come in with flip-flops. 30 above, summer holidays. You know, summer months, right? Incidences. You know, picture that, but responding to a call. Consequences can be bad. What are the consequences? One, that's the extreme. Hopefully when stepping off the apparatus, you're not going to fall and die. In this case, you probably could. But in other cases, an injury. Spraining ankles. Okay? Twisting a knee. We had a gentleman here that has a knee, just had knee surgery. It's not fun. You're out for a while. What's going to happen? Consequence, delayed response to an emergency. That's not good. Okay? You're hopping on the truck, captain's walking around the truck, guy's going, here's a bang, and you're sitting on the floor. You're the officer. What are you going to do? Delayed response. You got to care for your people. Now you know you got to go to a call. Sorry, buddy, you're staying at the station. Right? What about WCB insurance costs? I don't want to dwell on the money part of it. It's bad enough that we lose a man that's going to be down for a while, but we're talking about also there are associated costs, workman's comp. Hopefully there's no possible litigation, because under investigation, we do everything in due regard to prevent an incident like this from happening. I don't think there would be a litigation, but there could be a point that definitely insurance costs, WCB, loss of manpower, which I mentioned, black eye to the department, the extreme of this. So what we're talking about? We're talking about the safety. The safety begins here, begins now before you even get on scene. Because right off the get-go, you think about injuries. Remember, you think about injuries on the fire ground. Statistically, a lot of injuries that happen are either responding or coming back to the fire station, not necessarily on the fire ground. And this could be one of them. So the safety begins with you. So I'm leaving with George. George's going to talk about the proper methods, the process of going through mounting and dismounting. After we do that, we're going to summarize, and then we're actually going to get you out of your seats, and we're actually going to go out to the bay, and we're going to have you practice it. And hopefully you haven't picked up some bad habits already. It's like teaching the dog new tricks. Okay? Or old tricks? Is that how it goes? Well, anyway, you know what I mean. Okay? George?
Thank you, Joe. Like Joe alluded to, my name is George Parnell from the Kamloops Fire Department. So what we're going to talk about is the overall 6-step process of mounting and dismounting an apparatus. We're going to don our PPE, safely reach the apparatus handrails and steps, sit in the seat and fasten our seatbelt. We're going to remain seated with the seatbelt while the vehicle is in motion. When vehicle stops, prepare to dismount and dismount apparatus with using handrails and steps. Seems pretty basic, but I don't want you to think it's basic. It's about your safety. It's about you going home every night in safe and in good repair. So we've all kind of just jumped off that apparatus, our adrenaline's going, but you have to remember to slow down. Slow down because there's hazards. I think we've all been there, but we're all trying to educate ourselves to get better at that. And that's what we're here today for. So donning our appropriate PPE. This is not a class in instructing how to put your PPE on, but we're just going to go through a few things. You're all firefighters, and I'm sure you put it on dozens and dozens of times. So we have bunker pants, bunker jacket, we've got gloves, we've got our flashlight, our SCBA mask, we've got our helmet, our balaclava, high-vis vest, which is found in some of our men and women's bags, which we'll talk about, behind all of our seats in our apparatus, or sometimes our firefighters will have them on before they get into their truck. All departments are different in their SOPs, their procedures. We like to have a small bag, and that bag has a lot of things in it. It's got, for me, a number of things. It's got an extra balaclava, it's got extra gloves, it's got high-angle rescue gloves, rope rescue, a number of things. So I'm not fumbling trying to get into that truck. All of these things are on my gear or in my bag. So when I'm getting in that truck, I just have a small little bag. And it has to be small, right? How many firefighters do you have in those trucks? We need it to be small. Lieutenant Olson, what would be in your bag? Similar things, or do you have some other things?
Yeah, some cameras, some flashlights, and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Now, can you imagine if you didn't have, and you have a bag, and maybe a number of you do, but imagine if you didn't have a bag and you're fumbling and you got all those things and you're trying to get in the apparatus. It's unsafe, right? Wetaskiwin, do you guys run with bags or something similar? Yeah? And you know what, if you don't, that's okay, but it's just we want to be in that ready state, right? Mounting the apparatus using handrails and steps per local procedures. We want to place your bag, that small bag, or your helmet in the apparatus before you get in. We're going to grab the handrails, and we're going to use the steps using a 3-point contact procedure. If we can. Sometimes you're unable to, but if you're in the ready state, you should be able to do those things. We're going to sit in that seat. We're going to sit in the seat with the cab and fasten the seat belt. Follow all local safety regulations. NFPA 1500 requires firefighters to ride in a seat within the cab, have the seat belts fastened. No helmets worn in the cab while the apparatus is moving. Now he's wearing his helmet here, but sometimes you want that on your head when you get into that truck so it's not something you're fumbling with. But he will be taking that off, or he should be, as your SOPs require. You can see here he is seat belted in, securely belted before apparatus moves. Wear hearing protection because it's quite loud in the apparatuses. Secure loose tools and equipment, close the cab doors, and safety gates or bars securely. You want to remain seated while the apparatus is in motion, and you never want to be rustling around in that cab. Whether it be looking to put on an SCBA tank, whether it's a tick camera you're looking for, SCBA mask, this can all be done when you get on scene as your officer's doing a size up. You got plenty of time to do that. When vehicle comes to a complete stop, unfasten your safety belt and prepare to dismount. Follow your local policies and procedures. One being that your truck is not safe to exit unless your operator honks the horn. I'm sure you guys have your SOPs of that. You cannot get out of the apparatus until that operator signals you to. You may not be stopping there. All of a sudden you're getting out and he's driving forward. Officer tells him, no, we're going to stage up there. Dismounting the apparatus. We're going to step off backwards using that 3-point contact procedure again. And always be aware of your surroundings, as there could be hazards from vehicles, icy surfaces, and as Joe alluded to, the fact that stepping off into something you're unsure of and you're rolling your ankle. That's you.
So in conclusion, George touched on the basis of, it's not rocket science, gentlemen, ladies, getting in your apparatus. It's human behavior. We want to teach you guys, just like you're tying your shoes. It's instinct that you just get in that way, and you dismount that way, without thinking. And so, we covered donning your protective equipment. Okay, these are actually your skill and values checklist that we'll be going through when we go into the bay. Donning your gear. We have so much gear. We have so much things. And George alluded to, you need your hands free to get that 3-point. That's the whole idea of having a little bag. So you don't have, if you're juggling all this equipment, right? State of readiness. Think about that. Preparation. Mounting the apparatus using the protocols of 3-point. Sitting in the cab, putting your seatbelt on. We don't want you rustling around. We don't want you in the back trying to put on your BA while the truck is moving. You got to be seated. You got to be in. Think of it this way. I know we're always thinking time is the essence. Guess what? When you put any officers here, yeah. Guess what? Firefighters. When the officer pulls on scene, he needs the time to do the size up. Firefighters, give him that time. You got time to put on your BA. Remain seated with your seatbelt fastened in motion while it's in motion. The vehicle comes to a complete stop right before you dismount. Dismount the apparatus using handrails. That's the same as when you got in. 3 points. And what we're meaning is this: 3 points. 1, 2, 3 before you start deploying off. Okay? Any questions there? Before we go into the bay? Okay, let's do this together. I bet you're going to get a couple wrong. Maybe not. When all the seats and seatbelts are occupied, it is acceptable to have no more than 2 additional firefighters that can ride in the cab as long as they have grab handles to support themselves. True or false?
False.
False. Yeah, you're not going to cram them in like in the old days. Jump in, let's go. Right? Seat per person, seatbelt per person. Grab another rig. There's one exception to standing while the apparatus is moving, and that is when A, no seats are available and there's grab handles to support. B, loading hose and apparatus is moving forward at 8 kilometers an hour or less. Both A and B are acceptable. Or D, it is never acceptable to stand while the apparatus is moving.
D.
Answer is?
D.
D? Who concurs? What did you say, sir? B?
I said B.
B is correct. B is correct. They are saying there's one exception when you're loading hose. Picture when you're loading high vol. But the vehicle, a lot of people are moving backwards when they load, right? Picture, high vol, you're backing up, and the guys are going like this and loading up. That's not safe because the driver can't see what's going on. But if he's driving forward, he can see. So picture the hose is on the side, truck is on the side, and it's driving forward, and as you're moving forward, he's on the deck and he can load. Because the driver has full rein.
That's okay, we thought we'd get you on that one.
Yeah, that was the tricky one. Number 3, which of the following is not a guideline for safety? Secure all loose tools and equipment, always wear hearing protection or radio headsets, use steps and handrails when mounting dismounting. Seat belts are discretionary when the amount of firefighters are outnumber seat belts. Obviously it's D. What does the NFA stand for health and safety? 1500. It is acceptable to jump off the apparatus to rear deck as long as the firefighter is prepared and he is physically fit. No, of course not. You're not going to jump off. Every firefighter must use seatbelts while responding on the apparatus except the captain, since he or she needs to be able to move in order to facilitate mapping and pre-plans. True or false? It's false, man. He or she's got to be belted into. A rule of thumb while mounting and dismounting apparatus is to use a 3-point. True. That is it, gentlemen and ladies. So what we'd like you to do, we're going to go out to the bay, and a couple of you are going to just put on your gear on, and think about the things that we talked about in terms of state of readiness. Okay. The other thing is, I want everybody to meet at the rear of the fire apparatus. We have a rig out there. Meet at the rear of the fire apparatus, all of us, and we're just going to demonstrate dismounting and mounting off the rear. Then we're going to split into 2 groups, one on the driver's side, one on the passenger side. Half the group will go with me, the other half of the group will go with George, and we'll have you go in and out of the apparatus on the side. Roger, Roger? Okay, let's go.
Well, you can come with me and we'll go out to the bay. We're not going to stop this video, we're just going to walk to the back. Watch your step, safety-wise.
How come you're walking so slow? Did you hurt your knee? Did you fall off the apparatus? Okay, you guys, you're all here now. What we're going to show you, generally on the back of the truck, right? And this is the incident that happened when one of our own people had fallen off the back during a training session. Or equipment check, sorry. But George's going to show you mounting and dismounting the truck on the rear.
So we talked about that 3-point contact procedure, okay? That's 1, 2, 3, and up. So you've got 3 points of contact coming down. 1, 2, 3. You're safe. If you've got a whole bunch of things you're jumbling around with, you don't have that 3-point contact. So you want to make sure that you're safe. Some of the other things that we're going to show you here is 3-point contact and how we're going to get a hose down in that 3-point contact. So Joel, if you can help me out with this. 3-point. 1, 2, 3. Few different ways here. We like to pull our hose off. We have a man down below, so I'm not fumbling with that. I give the hose to Joe. I give him a certain amount. You're good, Joe. You can go forward. And I go forward. And then we have the second man come in and take a certain amount. We show him what we don't want to do.
Traditionally, this is what generally the guys will do.
This is what we don't want. And it happens all the time. And sometimes it's not even one of these. It's just one of these. And what do you think happens? Roll your ankle, hurt your knee. You're not doing what you love anymore. And you're not in the trucks for a while. So we want to make sure you're safe. And the way we're going to do that is that 3-point procedure. 1, 2, 3. We're going to step down. We can either turn, we can grab this hose, walk forward, and we're safe. 3-point contact, that's what we want to see. We want to change that education to it's okay to jump off that vehicle. So always that 3-point contact.
How many times have we seen that happen? Guys just jump off. It's just a matter of time somebody doing what we want to do. Okay? Any questions? We can do some practicing later on in the day, but we want to show you the side mount. So if half the class will come with me, other half will go with George.
Okay, we're going to come around this way. So I'll demonstrate this first for you guys. Then Lieutenant Olson, I'll get you to come in and do the same procedure. Okay? All your apparatuses are different. They should have handrails, they should have steps. Okay? So 3-point contact. 1, 2, 3. One thing you want to make sure of is if you got that bag, put that bag in first. Then you got that 3-point contact, okay? You're safe, you're not fumbling around with a bag as well, okay? Next, we're going to put that seatbelt on. Make sure you're secure, okay? It's your safety. It's all your firefighters' safety as well. No helmets on, because if you get in an accident, that head's like a bauble and it can break, okay? So put those helmets in their proper places. Some apparatus have those mounts for the helmets. Sometimes they're on the floor with your bags, okay? Undoing our seatbelt when it's safe to do so. And when is that? That is when you have that procedure, that honking. The operator tells you, this is where we're staging, we can get out. Same thing, 3-point, 1, 2, and 3. We're stepping down. What are we looking for? We're looking for vehicles that are close by that may hit you. We're looking for icy surfaces, okay? Yes, sir. Do you have a question?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so let's give that a try. Rob, would you like to show us? 3-point contact, up we go. Good. Helmet comes off. Perfect. Okay, dismount. Ah! That was your horn, by the way. Good. Very good. And the next person. And the next person. So is there any questions? George, anything else to add?
You know, pretty simple, but guess what? It's not. We're always jumping. We're always doing things we shouldn't be. So be safe out there, okay? And take the time, slow down.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.